Awesome, Joe. Thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on launching Inspire app to the App Store. You were just telling me right before this call that you're already getting downloads organically, so I'm super excited to jump in and talk more about that. First of all, who are you and what do you do for a living?
Yeah, well, first off, I appreciate Aleem, you, the entire like ambitious, labs team. It's been a phenomenal experience, and over the course of a few months, we accomplished way more than I ever thought we could. So,
Let's go.
huge shout out, can couldn't appreciate you guys more for that. Yeah, so for everybody else out there, my name's Joe Harding, founder CEO of Inspire, personal growth, holistic, um, you know, holistic personal growth app, that helps to sort of build upon the fragmented apps that exist out there, right? Bring everything into one place and create a journey line for users. Um, we've been working on this idea for a couple of years. Meanwhile, I also work a full time job as a business transformation consultant, mostly in the change management space. Helping companies guide their individuals, their employees through whatever may be happening. Um, so what I really wanted to do was, the same concept. Very passionate about change, personal growth, self improvement. I do it for the professional side, right? With helping organizations grow and take their employees with them. So, how did I do? How could I, do something similar on the individual level? So, Inspire is the solution to all that.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So you found this problem to solve at work, or was this a problem that like you wanted to solve for yourself?
Yeah, this was a little bit of both, right? I think like the professional side of the house for me, the work atmosphere, that contributes to it. But I think that there's a precursor to that, and that's I'm a bit of a nerd at heart, big philosophy guy. I have a master's in industrial organizational psychology, and so I've always been
Oh
really
wow.
focused on, yeah, I've really focused on how do we just always improve ourselves, right? How do we grow, learn? And to me, that's really exciting. It doesn't mean that you need to go out and conquer the world, right? But like, just the thought of, envisioning yourself a little bit better tomorrow than you are today is extremely exciting to me. So it was something I was more passionate about.
Mm.
Um, Inspire didn't start on the holistic personal growth concept. It actually started, and what we wanted to do was create meaningful one-to-one connections between personal trainers and clients, and also simultaneously kind of lift up the underdogs, the personal trainers in their industry who get raked over the coals by corporate gyms. So
Yeah.
that was the start of it. This was always, a longer term thing where, I knew that to live a good life, you need more than just fitness, but I wanted to anchor it to something. And so I thought, if you can build routine, if you can, build habits out of fitness and get yourself physically healthy, then you can conquer the world. This is slightly anecdotal, to me. This has been a little bit of my journey line. But then, we had some hiccups, we had some bumps in the road, some ups and downs. And, last summer I sat down and we didn't really know what we were going to do. We've been trying to do something for a year and a half at that point. Uh,
Who's we, Joe?
it was me and a couple other business partners.
Okay. Okay, cool. So you have co-founders in this, right?
Uh, had co-founders, yeah,
Right.
yes. But yes, a couple of friends, and they're still friends. Everybody, it's been a long journey, right? So everybody's lives take a little bit of a different path, and once we kind of realized the magnitude of what we're working with, this wasn't the best path for them. However, they're still very passionate about the concept of this and what we're doing, and very supportive. So no bad words for them. But yeah, so when I say we, that's who I'm talking about. And so we always had the concept of building something bigger and better for people. We just didn't really know what to do with it. And so this past summer, when things were looking daunting and we didn't really know if we were going to ever have a product that we could sell, I sat down and I really built out what are the dimensions that I think have helped guide me through life. What are the dimensions that I think ancient philosophers or modern philosophers and psychologists have studied and pulled out as major concepts of how individuals grow and learn in the world. And,
Hmm.
I came out with 5 dimensions: self-awareness, physical health, mental well-being, self-discipline, and then meaning and purpose. And so, well, as you know, we spent a little bit longer in the program than, maybe some other folks. And that's because, I really wanted to make sure that we had a holistic set of features that embrace, all those different dimensions and pull them
Mm.
all into one, unified platform that can build an experience for people to grow and master each one of them.
Yeah. I guess like on that topic, like, did you launch every single feature that you wanted to when, you first started to where you are today? Did you launch every single feature, or did you at any point in time realize like, maybe I should pull back on my scope of work and simplify? I'd love to know, the balance between your expectations and how much you had to pull back.
Yeah, we definitely pulled back. I think some of it was pulling back on just the degree. In terms of features, I think we launched with, 90-95% of what we wanted. There's two that stand out to me that we didn't get. And that was nutrition. And that was, for the community features, we want an accountability partner system to where you can match up with somebody who has very similar attributes or very similar goals and aspirations as you, and, hold each other accountable, also make some friends, right? So, and then nutrition, I had actually nutrition built in there. I kind of had a whole MyFitnessPal concept already built out in the app, and I
Okay.
didn't want it. That's not what we're trying to do. I'm not looking for, how do we count macros or calories. We really wanted to be transformative with it. And so, uh, you can look at modern day, trends, or, the RFK, concept of, what is health, what are we intaking, and what is the
Yeah.
quality and, contents of our food, rather than, how much are we taking in. And so, nutrition is going to take a little bit longer. It's still going to come, but we want to come up with something that's, unique and really just helps you eat healthier rather than eat less or eat more. So
Yeah. Joe, I want to get some of these core questions out of the way. Like, these are
yeah.
the banger questions that I know a lot of people love to hear, but like, number one, do you know how to code? How much technical experience did you have before joining Dreams into Apps?
I think you go back to the MySpace days, or if anybody remembers Neopets from way back when. I had some, yeah, HTML background with that. I've done some, online courses for, Python, JavaScript, but I've never dived in. I have no technical background. Because of the complexity of what we're doing, yeah, there's a few elements, that I had to get in the weeds with code, or
Yeah.
even with, build ship, and at least troubleshoot and learn how to kind of figure out what's going wrong. But yeah, really no background.
Well, your app is definitely one of the more complex, that we've seen. So you definitely bit off a good chunk, and you did a really really good job. Um, you said something about Neopets. The analogy I like to make with my millennial friends is like MySpace HTML. Like when you were like updating the colors on your MySpace page. Only like the 30 plus year olds will really get that one. Um, so that's funny. Also, did you try to hire any developers before coming to Ambitious Labs? What was that journey like as you came up with the idea and you took the next steps? What were some of those next steps that you took, and what happened as a result?
Yeah. Oh man, we went so many different paths. So, we started out in the white label world with, as I said earlier, we were just looking at fitness and personal training. And so we went down a couple paths with white label services. Um, it was okay, but I just, at the end of the day, I just knew that there was something missing, and I couldn't figure it out. And I didn't like the fact that I didn't know what was going on with it, or if there's something I needed to add or wanted to add, I couldn't do it myself. That was problematic. We reached out to probably a half a dozen, software development firms, onshore, offshore. And I think, with similar, concept of features as to what we have right now, the quotes were, I think, the cheapest quote I got was, from a service in India, and it was like 75 grand. And I think the highest we got was about a half a million, or close to,
No way.
450.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. And you told me these quotes before, and I'm just like, that is insanely high. I'm really not sure what that firm was thinking, or like what they thought of you. But like, I mean, even if I were to give you a quote to build it, and I were to build it for you, or our team at Image Select would build it for you, like I wouldn't go more than 50K. So I'm really confused as to why you got a $500,000 quote. Do you know what that was about?
Well, these weren't low code, no code firms, right? They were,
Okay.
um, they were
like
coding it.
like
And
boutique
so,
software agencies, yeah, like who are gonna go the whole nine
mm,
yards, like set up the entire infrastructure. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, completely unnecessary now that I understand the world. I feel bad for those firms because as soon as the rest of the world figures it out, right? Like there's no reason, to be sticking around with that, paying that amount of money. Um,
Mm,
However, there was also, because of the fact that it was, um, multiple apps, right? Like we wanted Android, we wanted Apple. So, it was basically doubling the cost for doing that. And, but also the timelines, man. I mean, like the timelines for these were 6, 12 plus months,
mm,
and then, beyond that too, we tried some of the other quick and fast services out there. I won't throw names around for their reputation's sake. Who knows? They could be transforming and becoming better. But nonetheless, there's some quick, cheap things out there, and they just, I mean, speaking of MySpace, right? Like the app came out looking like something, off of a MySpace portal. So something I would have built, and you know, yeah. So.
that's funny. Let's jump into the app. I appreciate you giving all that context. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me know when you can see it. Would love to get a demo of the app and show the world what you built. Cool. So I have here your App Store listing page. You can see it, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. I was doing a session last night, and I talk about like how, a mobile app is a funnel, and it all starts right here. And a lot of people don't really consider this part of the app when they're thinking about making an app. But I do think the App Store listing is the most important part. It's where most of the magic happens, and it creates the intent for the user. If I can just ramble on this for 30 seconds, like
Yeah. Go.
I think um I think this page really, really matters because App Store search is such it, I would say, underserved engine because there's not a lot of apps out there relative to the number of websites out there. So people who are searching on App Store search, there's a lot less solutions out there than Google search. So the App Store has done a really good job of ranking up apps that um, are keyword specific, and so you said it yourself, but you're already getting organic downloads, and I think a lot of it has to do because like you have a really good App Store listing page. Apple is reviewing this, and I'm sure they have some algorithm on their back end, and they don't want to show apps that look like crap. Apple is a very premium, product and a very premium brand, and so they're probably going to be ranking up apps that look good and logos that look good because they want to keep it consistent with their brand. They also reject you. I'm sure you've been through some rejections for quality issues and dimensions and just standards. So I think number one, like you've done a good job setting up the App Store listing page, and you've made it all very like SEO friendly. Um, but a lot of people miss out on this, and um, the screenshots that you made here, like similarly, I think I, I I have to coach a lot of our builders because a lot of them come from like very tech, like not technical backgrounds. A lot of them don't come from like sales backgrounds or marketing backgrounds. They're just very like in the weeds of their app. And I'm sure you could be guilty of this too. I'm super guilty of it. I'm still improving every week on my marketing, but um, marketing is about like selling an outcome, and people download apps to solve problems in their lives. And so I have to coach a lot of our builders on like selling the outcome here. For example, transform yourself, inspire the world, goal and habit tracking, personalized workout programs. A lot of our builders are like selling really like technical details here on the screenshots. And first of all, they don't um I don't blame them because marketing and sales isn't like their thing, but what I found is that since we are so in the weeds of building our apps, we think that the features are what people are buying, but we forget to kind of zoom out and look at the fact that we built this as a solution to a problem, and they're actually purchasing like the solution or the outcome. So that's why I really wanted to ramble off on the App Store page because I think a lot of people overlook this when this is where all the excitement happens. And if you nail the App Store listing page, when people download your app and you get the onboarding right, and then you show the paywall at the right time, you can turn your app into a money printing machine, if done correctly.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree. And it's not without effort either, right? Like, I remember when I finished up the app and I finished up everything, and it was, probably 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was like, all right, perfect. Like tomorrow I'll get it all, out there and done. And, I thought all I was going to have to do is click a button. I, get in here, and I recall videos from you on, how important it is. And it took me a whole nother day, to customize and make sure that all this stuff was up to my standard. And my former business partners can tell you I have extremely high standards, especially when it comes
I
to
can tell,
content
man.
creation.
I've worked with you for a few months, and yeah, I can tell. But it's a good thing, because when you're building an app, like, you only get one shot really of putting an app to the store. And when I was first building apps, I would leave a bug in there, or two bugs in there, and be like, "Oh, I'll come back to it later." But then, like, that one bug is the reason for a 1-star review, or it's the reason that, you know somebody downloads your app and doesn't continue to use it. It's a terrible, 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 terrible toxic trait. I can't have more bad words to say about it, but you should not have the mentality of it's okay to leave something unfunctioning in your app. Uh, you should just remove that feature if it doesn't work. First of all, Apple, if they do their job, they should catch it. But I think attention to detail, if you are one like Joe who has a lot of attention to detail, you'll do really, really well in app development. Um, but yeah, like, I've seen builders where they just will be like half baking out features and they don't drive it all the way to the finish. But I mean, enough talking. Let's jump in. I'd love to see the actual app and kind of walk through how it works. So I've already got it downloaded. I'll turn it over to you. You can walk me step by step, like what I should do and how I get value from the app.
Yeah, so you can sign up using just regular email password, or Google or Apple. And it was funny, the attention to detail. I was even just looking at those screenshots, and on the App Store, and I recognize that the battery, of the phone that they were taken on is, like next to zero, and
Oh no, that's next level. I'm not that much.
I'm
Oh,
like, oh, what is the problem here? Yeah, so once you sign up, right, it'll take you to this little intro page, and you can swipe right, and you'll see the different dimensions that I was speaking of. Some quick overview of those. I tried to really make it clear to individuals, and users don't have to do this, right? You can just get started, but I want to really make it clear, like, that we're not selling nonsense, right? Everything is grounded in not just my anecdotal experience, but philosophical and scientific rigor. And so I put examples in there of all that so that people can get a little bit more depth as to what we're doing here.
yeah.
Yeah. Then once you get started, there's a 20-question onboarding
I
survey
love
that
this. So it's like a self-awareness quiz. That's really cool. How
Well,
often
yeah,
do you
it'll go through each dimension. There's 5 or 4 questions for each, one of the 5 dimensions, and yeah, it'll, provide a score. I mean, for now, you could probably just click through them all and, yeah, get, to the next screen. But
did you implement Mixpanel yet?
yeah, I did. I actually disabled it because it was
Oh, I
causing,
remember we were having that issue with the code.
yeah.
Did it ever work out or no?
Well, what I realized was I kept testing the app to, find out what I thought were bugs in, like, navigation, and it was because Mixpanel was, not running. And
Oh
so,
no.
yeah,
Let's look into that. Like, I'm happy to jump on with you and let's look into that.
yeah,
But
yeah, it's
Mixpanel will be super critical here as you start getting users, and you got 20 questions. So I'm really curious to see what your onboarding funnel report looks like.
yeah, and that's well, yeah, and that is it was so also this onboarding questionnaire, while we're here. I'm redoing this a little bit right now, and this is users can expect an updated app here in the next week or so,
Okay.
which is there's a ton of features in here that we'll go through. But what I realized was, to your point of being technical, and you get so focused on the features, that you start to forget of the value. And so this screen right here, right, gives you,
Whoa, this is dope. This is
yeah.
super cool.
So I had this set up to give you the scores and then, recommended features based on your, score level. However, what I'm going to do now is we're going to transform this into a journey line adventure. And I'm going to take this onboarding instead of, 0 to 100% scores. It's going to be a point system and you're going to be able to level up each of your dimensions, so
Oh,
you'll take
that's sweet. That's
yeah,
sweet.
so that it's, it's fun, it's engaging, right? It's like, hey, I need to get in and do my journal entry today because I want to level up my self-awareness score on the Inspire app.
I mean, if I may interject for a moment, like
Yeah.
this is branded really well for like executives and founders and like high performing individuals. Like the color scheme you have is very professional. These um, initiatives that you have here are quite frankly where most executives and business owners fall short. Like self-awareness is something that's super important for executives, obviously mental health, physical health, self-discipline, meaning and purpose. I'm not sure if you have this, but like love and relationships is something that I think is an area of improvement for a lot of executives and business owners. But that's just like the first thing that's coming to my mind here is this really feels like a high performing app. Is that a niche or a market that you thought of?
Yeah, that is, I'm located up here in the Washington D.C. metro area, right? So I'm around people who are some of the hardest chargers, all the time, right? And I have a lot of friends that are just, hyper growth oriented, right? It doesn't, people come here and it's literally to grow their careers and to, grow. And so, yeah, a lot of our, target audience, is I'd say that group of hard chargers. But I also want the people who are just like, I just can't figure it out, man. Like I don't know what's going on. Like I feel like my life should be better, and I don't know why it's not right. And ultimately, all those dimensions kind of aggregate into responsibility and accountability, and
Mm,
that's what we're trying to teach people, right? How do I take somebody who is just miserable and mad at the world and they can't figure it out, right? And so if I can teach you how to take responsibility and accountability for your life through these 5 dimensions, then what I can unlock for you is that you can not just be better in your own life, but you're going to be able to take care of a family better. You're going to be a better partner, a better
yeah.
parent, a better contributor to society and your friends. And so
Yeah.
that's what we're after here.
No, that's fantastic, Joe. But I will challenge you live on the call too. Like, I think you should run tests, especially when you're in this phase right now of not really like pushing a ton of traffic to it while you work on some updates. You should run tests with your app store listing and like say inspire dash like executive coaching or inspire dash like become a better business owner and test like those executive taglines because I think you could get a ton of downloads for like business coaching, executive growth, executive assistant. That would be crazy. I think there's huge opportunity right now for like AI executive assistants. I myself have actually um, thought about building like executive assistant agents and like I've googled for like executive assistants or like AI assistants. But yeah, like I think there's a huge opportunity right now. I was listening to a podcast from My First Million and Sean Parr and those guys. Was it them? No, it was. Oh, no. It was the Y Combinator request for startups, and they're talking about how do you make amenities that are currently only accessible to rich people, accessible to the normal person. And one of the amenities was like, an executive assistant or a at-home chef or um, a nanny, stuff like that. But like, I think that's a huge opportunity as well because what you're doing here is like really, you're like consolidating all the efforts of what potentially an executive coach would do. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like taking
No,
this
yeah.
a separate vertical, but like you're essentially taking all the components of executive coaching and consolidating it into an app that could be like Pocket Executive Coach. And I think you could even position this with the brand that you've already built as like a very premium product. Because to be honest, like I can't even quantify. I think I could make, hundreds of thousands of dollars more if my physical fitness was perfect, if my mental health was perfect, and if my self-awareness was perfect as a business owner, I could probably crush it in life. And so the idea of paying 25 bucks a month is a huge ROI to me. Just food for thought. That's what's popping in my mind as I talk through this with you.
No, you're actually 100% spot on with, kind of where we're taking it. And that was, like I said, the original concept was personal trainers, right? And how do I make personal training more accessible to people and easier?
Mm,
Over the summer when we kind of rethought about everything, it was how do I make life coaching, more accessible? And so, to your point of executive coaching, right? Like that is, very similar. I would just say life coaching is the equivalent to, executive coaching for the normal individual. And,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and also, I used to work for Accenture, for a couple of years, and
Oh yeah,
I know that we would, at Accenture, we would have access to all sorts of health and wellness, different like apps, and partnerships, and that's a huge market right there, right? So that's another thing, I want to position this for is, massive partnerships with big corporations to give the access to their employees, right? Don't just handle mental health, handle physical health, handle
absolutely,
discipline, the whole
100%.
nine yards.
Let's jump in. So I'll hit get started on my journey. Boom, paywall, love it. I think that you did a good job with like the questionnaire. Questionnaires are the best way to get leads to realize their problems. And so if you show them that, they score here and your app will take them here, that difference is what they'll pay for. So you may, I think where you're going with like the point system and like how you rank up, that's going to be good, I think, for paywall conversions. So you got three tiers. Ooh, you got three tiers here. You have Inspire Momentum, Inspire Clarity, Inspire Limitless. Okay. What's the difference
Yeah,
between these?
that'll so these are going to be changing a little bit here in the future too, and I think I'm going to consolidate into probably just one package, for the whole nine yards, which will be with some of this journey line concept that we're trying to instill. However, right now the difference is, and there's also a free version. If you go all the way to the bottom, you can continue for free, and the
Hmm.
free version will give you access to the reflection journal and the community features. Momentum gives you access to the goal setting, habit tracking, um, and then clarity gives you a little bit of expanded access. You get Coach Inspire, the personalized AI coach within the app, and Coach Inspire learns off of everything you do. You set a new goal, Coach Inspire knows about it. New
That's pretty
habit,
cool.
everything.
So you built like a knowledge base and it's trained on all of that.
Yeah, yep. And I struggled with this actually for quite a while, but it's a whole separate collection within the app. So basically, it's just a duplicative collection, but it's strictly for Coach Inspire. And so actually, when you go to the next page and you create your profile, it'll create a Coach Inspire document for the user, and that is where it will save all their goals, all their habits, all their journal entries. There's values, personal values. This is actually a really amazing feature. So there's a world renowned social psychologist, Dr. Shalom Schwartz, and he has a personal values, um, uh, well, he's kind of like the leader in personal, values research. And as such, he's got, a questionnaire. It's mostly used for research purposes, but I reached out to him, to ask about using it for this app. And, he communicated back with me, and we got a, commercial license from him. And that is, the, personal values assessment that is built into the app that allows users to understand what their core personal values are, and some insights on themselves. From there, it actually guides you into creating your personal mission statement, which you see up there
That's
at
really cool.
the top
But
of the page.
Joe, one thing I want to clarify, we get a lot of people who ask like, um, with your technology stack, can I build an app that's trained on my own custom knowledge base and build an AI assistant around my custom knowledge base? We get people who want to build like AI therapist apps or like AI meditation, or they want to train on their own knowledge base for their business. Um, is that possible? And were you able to pull that off pretty effectively?
Yeah, I will say we leverage BuildShip, and it's an open AI agent, and uh, I trained it on the values assessment, but then for everything else, it's through BuildShip, and it's trained as the user goes on their profile. That was not easy, I will say. Like this was probably one of the biggest headaches I've had.
Mm,
because it's not, as simple as doing some of the, just having it learn, right? Like you got to make sure it's connected and that it always knows, and it's also
sure.
related to only you, which is, the reason for the, specific collection. Um, but uh, yeah, I mean, it's doable, right? And there's so many, improvements I want to make with that to get it, even more trained and specific to the Inspire mission,
Yeah.
um, all in due time.
Got you. Cool. I'm at the homepage now. And last night during my webinar, I was talking about like the core app loop and how, you build homepages that give the user a ton of value. And I think you did exactly that. Like I'm on this homepage and I see a lot of cool features. So talk me through how I would use this.
Yeah. So, scrolling all the way up to the top, right? You have your own little profile card, and you'll have your picture, your name, the date, and then you see the mission statement there, right? So once you go through that whole mission statement exercise, your mission statement will pop up for you right away every day.
Mm,
Same thing, so you can just be reminded of what your goals are in life. From there, you got the Inspired philosophy again. I wanted to create a quick reference for everybody to make sure that they're aware and grounded in what the reasons were for the app. Going farther down, you have a quick daily inspiration quote updated every night at midnight. So something to just kind of give you that little bit of boost of motivation. From here, you have the self exploration dashboard, and that's where you do the values and mission statement that I was talking about.
oh, right
So
here,
you
right here.
click,
Yep.
yeah, you can click into that, or and begin the values. I wouldn't go
Wow.
all the way through that. It's a little lengthy, but yeah, and then going down, what's our next one? I think it's fitness. So yeah, like if you have a fitness program you started, it'll pop up with your card there that you can quickly navigate to the fitness dashboard.
Oh, that's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, this is the only program in there right now. We're actually this weekend gonna. This is another one that's getting revamped. Um, Give me just a second here too. I'm gonna add you in.
You saw the email I used. It was alimletters@gmail.com.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So what Joe's doing right now is he's in the Firebase dashboard and he's probably gonna uh, change me to a premium user without me having to pay. So he's got that control on the database side that he's able to do all that.
Yeah, yeah. If we're friends, you know, maybe you
Ah,
can
for
talk me
friends.
into doing this for.
Otherwise, you get a lot of emails saying, "Hey, can you unlock my account, please? I know
Can I
you
get
have the ability
premium
to do
too?
that. You can't
Yeah,
tell me you can't do it."
yeah. You should be good now. So if you um, we can
Right.
walk through them, yeah, one at a time. So you showed the values and um, mission. It should have updated you automatically.
Okay, I just restarted the app
Yeah,
just for good measure. I'll turn this back on. Very nice. Okay, cool.
yeah. So
Where was I
yeah,
going?
going through the values and mission statement are a little bit of a lengthy exercise, um, but I think we talked about the general concept of that. So
Yeah.
um,
Oh, I see.
yeah, it's 57 questions, and
Wow.
yeah, but I mean they're quick. It's not that crazy, but it is something you need to spend time on.
Sure.
Um, and then this is the Inspire community right here, right? So I'm going to be overhauling this a little bit. I think instead of doing one giant activity feed, we're going to have groups. But for right now,
That's
you know,
smart. Yeah.
yeah, like more group oriented. But for now, you can post, you can report posts, you can like, comment, um, whole
It's
nine yards. Basically, add photos, whatever is in there. So same
so
concept.
let's talk about that real quick. So I had a client come to us and he was like, "Hey, um, I want to build a community feature in my app. These developers I'm working with want like $7,000, and they sent me the scope of work, and it was literally this exact feature, a little bit more complex in that it had like support for video and like groups and community topics and stuff like that. So it was a little bit more than this, but they wanted 7K to build out that community feature. I want to know from you, like, was this a hard feature to build yourself? And if you got quoted 7K, like, would you think that's worth it? Or would you be like, dude, it shouldn't take that long?
No, I built this honestly in like a day. All the features included in it. I mean, you got search users. That's like a whole user database. You got the bell at the top. That's all your notifications, right?
Yeah.
Um, you have likes, you have follows, the whole nine yards. Like if you go to the My Profile tab up there, like
Hmm.
click on My Profile on your, you got your profile. If you would have entered a bio, it would show up in that box. Your network, the following, the followers, you can view them. You can set your background image. I built all this. Quite frankly, I don't know who it was on YouTube, but there's a whole YouTube building a social media, app on Flutterflow, and I
Oh,
went,
dang.
yeah, and I watched this guy's videos, and I just did it along with him, and I knew enough about what I wanted that I just updated or changed UI or changed things, but to get the general concept and have to not think about some of the back end complexity because there's a lot with the community feature.
Mm.
But yeah, and that's I'm not gonna. I mean, between your videos that are already out there and other users that are creating and building in Flutterflow, there's such a big community, and there's no reason to really. I mean, look, not everybody's gonna have the grind and grit necessary to go in and build their own app, but if you do, if you have that motivation, there's no reason why you should be paying somebody to do this nowadays.
How many hours per day or how many hours per week did you take to contribute and be successful with this app?
Yeah, well, I'm probably a bad reference because to the
Uh-oh.
detail orientation point, right? Like I redid the app multiple times in the lifespan of things. However, I probably, um, for the past 2, 3 months, probably spend a solid 8 hours a day at least on it. I mean, it would be plenty more if I didn't have a regular job already, but I mean, um, just the thing is, and I'll say this too to everybody listening or anybody who's interested in building an app, if you are any sort of video game nerd or you just like puzzles or this is my problem was I don't even know necessarily if I wanted to work until 3, 4 in the morning every night, but it's becomes like playing a giant video game. Like it's fun, you are having fun and you're playing a video game that essentially can net you money in the future. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know a better life.
Me neither, man. This is why I love doing it. That's the best way I've ever heard it explained. And I totally agree. Like for people who love a challenge and people who love like moving forward in life and solving problems, like every time you build a feature, every time you encounter a bug or like create a flow that works, it just triggers this brand new part of your brain and you just want more and more of it. Um, it's like unlocking levels in like a story mode video game. I love the way you said that.
It's so exciting, So, um, yeah, well, so yeah, then the next thing here is the goals habit dashboard.
Mm.
As you add goals, as you add habits, and I mean, you can run through that. That's pretty quick. You can ask Coach Inspire. It'll take you to the Coach Inspire chat.
Oh, wow.
This is also the Coach Inspire chat. So that's where you'll work and talk back and forth with Coach Inspire, get some insights. Um, but to get help with this because this leverages the smart goal setting system.
Mm.
You can ask Coach Inspire to give you stuff. I'm not as fancy yet as being able to make it populate right in there, so you have to copy and paste your chat and bring it back at the moment. Hopefully something I can improve later, but nonetheless that'll all happen. And um,
That is so cool.
yeah, and well, I see something there with the progress bar, and that's because I think you only set one milestone, which typically that would be 0%. So something I'll have to look into.
Okay.
But
Need some form
yeah,
validation there or something. That makes
yeah.
sense.
Nonetheless, yeah, it'll show up there, and then update, add stuff. Habits will be very similar.
Did you come up with this design on your own? How did you design all this?
Yeah, a lot of iterating on it, but I mean that the design was, um, yeah, just being in the app and what would I want to see, right? If I
Mm.
was setting goals and habits, how would I want to see it? And the habits is slightly different. It's probably worth going to the habits and creating one quick because the Habits has a daily check-in feature.
Right.
So it shows up, and whatever occurrence you set for your frequency of your habit, you'll have a little box, and you'll check in, or miss it, and it'll update in real time for you as days go. So you know what would I want out of this, right? And that's how I kind of built it. At the end of the day, I wanted to build an app that I'm going to use.
Mm,
So
very cool. Nice, Joe. Well, where are you at right now? So you've launched, it's live in the App Store. You said you've gotten a few users organically. Have you started marketing this yet? Kind of what's your plan for going to market from here?
yeah, I think we are launched. It is live on the Apple App Store. Google, I have on hold at the moment, just because um, I think that there's a lot of really great value in this right now. However, I'm not satisfied. I think there needs to be, some additional support mechanisms for it, and to the point of what I was talking about with onboarding. Uh, gamifying it and making it so that it's engaging for individuals, and creating a journey line concept. So what it's going to do, and hoping that this update is going to be out either this weekend or next weekend. Uh, when you go through the onboarding process, it's not going to work on that 0 to 100 scale. It's going to be a leveling system where you get points.
Mm,
So you'll have an initial set of points, and then you'll have an initial level. And then, based on whatever sort of, I'm going to have archetype paths. So you're going to, there'll be like, archetypes, like for self-awareness. If you're got a low self-awareness score, it'll be the seeker, right? I'm the seeker. And I want to improve, self-awareness. So then Coach Inspire will work with you to provide tasks and challenges that you can, accomplish to get yourself to the next level. You'll gain points for each different feature, that and to where it, correctly correlates to the dimensions. Similarly with fitness, I just brought on, another friend of mine who is a fitness director and phenomenal, intelligent guy, and we're redoing the fitness features to where it's going to be same concept, a journey line. So it'll be a progressive, phase program where you get to see, real time, and kind of go throughout the journey of fitness on something that's, there will be three programs: aesthetics, longevity, and performance based. And so that is those are the next steps, and
that's
then
awesome.
from there, sky's the limit, man.
So, real quick, if anybody in the live YouTube stream has any questions for Joe, now's the time to post it in the chat. Would be happy to round this out with questions from y'all. And then to you, Joe, like, how are you going to be getting traffic to this App Store page? Like, have you thought about, where you're going to go next?
Yeah, so I have a few things in the works with that too. I have another friend I'm bringing in who, does marketing and advertising, for his
Nice.
regular job. And so, he is very interested in this concept, and, loves it and wants to help out and contribute. So, he's going to be helping out with some of the marketing. We have all of our social medias: Facebook, Instagram, well, rest in peace, TikTok, X, and it's Stay Inspired, is the handle for all of them. So Stay
Sweet.
INSP1RED. So we'll be leveraging Instagram and Facebook mostly for a lot of the marketing, and we'll see. From there, it's just we'll get the word out in a multitude of different ways.
Absolutely. That sounds really good. Doesn't look like there's any questions. But that's all I got, Joe. I think you crushed it, man. How was your experience overall in the program, and would you recommend it? And where else could we improve?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've already recommended it to people. I
Oh,
think
nice. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
it's not an easy undertaking for people. I think it's daunting unless this is something you are extremely passionate about, right? If you have a mission and you are driven, and there's nothing going to stop you, this is the correct program for you. I think if you're 50% of the way, this is also the program for you, but it's a little bit harder to take that jump and leap of faith. I think if I could say anything to those people who are on the fence, or I don't know, it's not a scam. It is the real deal. And I think I opened up the podcast by giving a huge shout out to Ambitious Labs and you, and all the coaches. And I didn't know that's what I was signing up for. I thought I was signing up for getting training on how to build an app myself, and I kind of assumed it was going to be like every other thing that was in a similar price range. Yeah, sure, we'll help you, but like we're not really helping you, like let's just get you moving. I have had more support. I have a message in my Discord right now from Andreas, literally just checking up on me a month after I launched. Like, I haven't paid Ambitious Labs in a couple months, right? Like, there's no
Nice.
money you're getting. You guys are a very caring, oriented towards the, client group. And it's so worth it for, the friends you'll make and the community. Um, couldn't I don't know anything else out there that exists in comparison. And trust me, I looked. So
That's because there's not. It's a
yeah.
hard challenge to take on. Like people called me crazy when I had one of my first head coaches about 2 years ago, and I was like, hey, I want to build this accelerator where we help people build their own ideas, and he was like, well, I remember there was a time where we added like five. We got our first five builders, and he was like, "Hey, can we stop adding people?" And I'm like, "No, bro. Like we have to get a lot more students." And he was like, "How are we going to support all them?" I'm like, "We got to build the best team and the best course, and like we just gotta do it." And so it's a really hard thing to do. We teach dozens of people every week on dozens of unique ideas. And I mean, I can't take any credit. Like I just rounded the team together, and I'm the face. Unfortunately, you'll have to look at my face, but like we've just put a great team together, and they're the ones who we got to thank for all this. But I'm glad you had a great time. We're still trying to get better every day. You've also seen us go from the V2 version to the V3 version, and we're also now going to upgrade to V4, which is optimized for a lot faster launches. We are looking at all the students every single day. We are literally in our 2 times a week ops meetings. We're looking at, hey, where's Joe this week? Where's Ria this week? Where's Sanjay this week? And our goal is like, hey, we need to get Sanjay to the finish line. We need to get Ria past the build phase. And we literally are like 1-to-1 with every student. Or I don't even like calling y'all students. Y'all are builders. And we're making sure that y'all get to the finish line. Because for us, like the mission that I'm on is there's two ways to build a product. Like either you pay a developer for hours, and I think that's a broken way. Nobody likes paying people on hourly, especially when you're on a budget, and you have a fixed cost. For us, it's like, hey, we take your money once and we launch you an app. It's a transaction that's very simple to understand. And we also now guarantee very, very upfront. It's like we will keep working with you until you launch your app for that first payment. Um, as long as you're showing up every week and putting in the work, we're obviously not going to honor that guarantee if you just like join and then leave. But you've been somebody for 6 months straight just putting in the work, and there's no reason for us to penalize you as long as you're putting in the work and taking our feedback in. So it's been a pleasure working with you, Joe.
Yeah, yeah, and to add on to that, right? Like what you're doing with Ambitious Labs and like that model, right? Like that is the same concept as what I'm doing with Inspire, right? I'm teaching people, how to, hopefully do that exact same, level of accountability. I'm not,
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
my app is not here to do it for you. It is here to, help direct you. And when things get hard, we'll hold your hand. That is what I'm
Absolutely.
doing. That is what you're doing. And so I think that's, probably why I resonated so much with the program. And
Yeah,
you're
and I
giving
hope
the
I hope
underdog
you
a
learn
chance,
stuff
man.
about I hope you learn stuff about like the business as well. I like to I tell y'all exactly what I'm doing in the company. I tell y'all the tests we're running, the price increases, the marketing channels that we use. And so I hope you learn stuff just outside of building an app as well, like from our experience growing this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I don't think of it as like a program that I did, to become a, app developer. I think of it as like a family that I joined now because that's
That's awesome.
ultimately what it
That's
is,
so cool.
and that's, everybody's interacting all the time, the Discord is phenomenal. So
Thanks, man. Well, cool. Appreciate you joining us. I'm gonna kill the live, but thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you.
yeah, yeah, I appreciate it, man.
All right, everybody. Take care on YouTube. Nice, man. That was fun. That was probably the most fun I've ever had.